TV, Real and Willing Television. I'm Rebecca Vargas, and this is my new co-host, Jacob Kelly. Welcome to the show. With this upcoming season, we have obviously a new host, a new outlook, and we have a lot of new segments coming up. But we want to get to know Jacob a little more. So tell us where you're from.
Hi, I'm Jacob, and I'm from a town called Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania.
Cool. Tell me what your major is and what you're looking forward to.
I'm majoring in missions, and I think minoring in evangelism. By the time I graduate, I want to pursue a career to be a worship evangelist and just kind of tour America, doing a lot of just nights of worship or things like that in churches, but also speak. I love speaking a lot like that. And what I hope to do is actually raise money going throughout America doing that, and actually do missions across seas that I really feel like God's laying on my heart.
That's an awesome calling.
Yeah,
cool. So tell us what you're looking forward to most as being as the host of Raw TV.
Well, hearing about this new season, I was super excited because just discussing with the producers about what's going to be going on. We're just going to be having some awesome discussions, it sounds like, and that's something I think definitely that I enjoy talking about is a lot of things that maybe Christians may overlook or just issues that people almost just kind of miss because it's too difficult to answer or something like that.
Cool.
So.
And can you tell us who you like to have on the show?
I would be extremely happy if we had Francis Chan on the show.
Who's that?
Francis Chan. He is he's an author, and he was a pastor out of a church called Cornerstone in Simi Valley, California.
Cool.
But he's authored a few books like Crazy Love, Forgotten God, and Erasing Hell.
Nice. Well, maybe we can get him on the show.
Yeah.
All right, 60 seconds of your favorite things. Ready?
Okay.
Okay, put it on the clock. All right, favorite color.
Green.
School subject. Faster.
History.
Bubblegum flavor.
Mint.
Favorite TV show. Movie.
Family Guy.
Movie.
300.
Biggest pet peeve.
Chewing.
Favorite fast food.
McDonald's.
First kiss.
Who? Or
Where? Who?
where? It was in front of a locker in my freshman year in high school.
Oh, fave iPhone app.
I really do love that app. What is it called? It's the taking picture one.
Okay, cat or dog?
Dog.
Hot dog or hamburger?
Hamburger.
Favorite ice cream?
Chocolate chip cookie dough.
Chucks or Van?
Yes.
Favorite vacation spot?
Somewhere like mountains.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Steak or
Cold.
chicken? You can't go back.
Chicken.
iPhone or Blackberry?
iPhone.
Superman or Batman?
Batman.
Swimming or running?
Swimming.
Okay. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go away.
People of God, everyone, God loves you. There's nothing for you.
Welcome back, guys. And with this new season, we wanted to have a panel where we could discuss issues that we don't really know all the answers to and get a little edgy. So here is our new panel, and we have Seth Spencer.
Thank you. This is Amanda Button.
Woo! And our very own Word on the Street host, Candace Shoemaker. Hello. So let's get to know you guys a little bit. 3 things that our audience would like to know about you. Go ahead.
I love Frank Sinatra. Green is my favorite color, and I have a fetish for antiques.
Awesome.
Shouldn't have said that.
Okay. Amanda.
I have an unhealthy fascination with dinosaurs. I love all things bedazzled, and I carry a stun gun with me at all times.
It's really cool.
Yes. Don't mess with me.
All right, I'm from Kentucky. I play the ukulele, and I am obsessed with the bachelor pad, which I know is really bad. But I have to admit
I like it. I like it too, though.
What about you, Rebecca?
Oh, okay. I love the Jonas Brothers. Don't remember. I always am falling everywhere. I'm like the clumsiest person in the world. And I'm obsessed with chandeliers. I don't know why, I just love
It's a
them.
different obsession.
Yeah. Go ahead. I want to know about you.
I think for me, I love penguins. I'm terrified of jellyfish, and let's see what's this
His fingers up like he's got to count. One more.
One more. What was my other one? I gotta. Oh,
He's
It's
even-
about music, right? Something with music.
I
Do you
forget.
have a favorite
right.
movie at all?
Oh, my favorite chick flick is 27 Dresses.
There you go.
That's very chick flicky.
Yes, it is.
Well, let's just get it all out there. I want to talk about Christians. And we know that they're all just kind of a little weird. And I'm a Christian too. And we just do
know.
weird, stupid stuff. Like the I Pray t-shirts, like for iPod.
you're
I
right.
mean, okay, how many of you have been driving by down a church and you just see, or down the street by a church and you see one of those signs?
Very often.
Yeah.
I wrote down a
me.
few, okay? Try Jesus. If you don't like him, the devil will take you back. Okay? Prayer, free wireless access. Have you guys seen these?
Trying to be relevant.
I know. Like what? Have you?
There was one that said, "Stop, drop, and roll won't work in hell."
Oh, that one's good.
Oh my gosh. My personal favorite is Google doesn't have all the answers.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was
I
that
enjoyed
one?
that
We're
one.
not going to talk about the bad ones. The ones that end up being inappropriate and they don't
Right,
even realize
yeah.
it. Like,
Oh
like those
gosh,
awkward
I feel like
ones.
that happens all the time.
I know, but do they honestly think that these are going to reach people though, or is it going to bring people to their church?
I feel like they're almost trying to get attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're trying to be relevant, so they're posting these things, and they're like, hey, if someone's like driving by, they'll see this and they'll want to come inside.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to like pull people in. And I mean, you have to admit, like it's great that they want to reach out to people, they want to be relevant, but I just feel like there has to be a better way. You know what I mean?
I feel like there's two different kinds of churches when it comes to something like this. Is that churches are either trying to be relevant or they're desperate for more people.
That's true.
I think a lot of
Yeah.
times we realize that it's not really about the numbers, it's about the quality of people that are in the church already. Are you discipling them in the right way? Are you bringing in people that have a true desire for God?
Yeah.
And then through that, are you being able to witness out to your community, your city, your state, stuff like that?
Yeah, you know, the old way people went about witnessing to people or trying to get people to come to their church was, you know, knocking on doors and handing out tracts.
Yeah.
We don't usually do that now. But what do you guys, what have you experienced or what have you done to spread your faith or share your faith?
I've actually been on the receiving end of some of that. Like, I've gotten tracts. I don't know why people would find that necessary to
Yeah.
hand me a tract, but even waiting tables, people would, yeah, it's me looking all crazy. Waiting tables, people would like leave tracts as tips and think that that's like an appropriate thing.
That was
Throwing
the
it out there,
tip?
it's not, yeah.
don't
It's
take your word
extremely
for it.
Or was it
offensive.
like,
No,
this is
no,
what
no.
I'm
Like
bringing
that,
you?
like
Wow.
I'm giving you eternal glory. Like that's how they
Maybe
do
if
it.
they gave you
I've
like a
never
good
heard
tip
that.
with that, I'd be like, oh, this person seems nice, let me read this.
Exactly, but most of the time it's not like that. And all of the atheists and agnostics that wait tables do not take kindly to that. Like it's extremely offensive and it just turns them off to it. So
Yeah.
I'm generally not a fan of that.
No, I
type of-
will admit that there are some people that you will reach in doing that, but that it's not the most effective way to do it.
Yeah.
At our church out at Mulberry, we would take every Sunday night and we would we'd have a group go out to Walmart and they would just walk around praying. And then when they saw somebody they felt like God put on their heart, they would go talk to them. And a lot of times it was amazing.
That's
The
good.
stuff that people would open up with in Walmart, in the shampoo aisle, of all places.
Yeah.
And then we had people who went door to door, and then we had people who just kind of walked the neighborhood for people who were outside, mowing the lawn, playing basketball, something like that.
Those are some cool
So-
methods.
I think the difference though with what you were saying is that like you were being led by the Spirit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you could
Right.
tell like you were in Walmart
Right.
and you felt like God was like leading you to talk to someone. Or in these situations, like it's so offensive.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I mean?
look,
Like
I don't
Yeah.
want to talk to you, but here, read this
Right.
little 3-page
it's like I can
pamphlet.
tell you need Christ.
Yeah.
It's like
Exactly.
let me leave this
Exactly.
with you.
It's like
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
care about your personal life. I just want to get my counted
Yeah.
number. I saved one person today. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's effective, like when the Mormons go and knock on doors, and do you think they really?
I mean, they
reach
have to
people?
they have to see some value in it, or else they wouldn't
Yeah.
keep doing it.
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
You know, it's the
Right.
same. It's the same thing. We lived 2 blocks away from a Kingdom Hall back
Really?
home. Yeah, in Anchorage, Alaska. 2 blocks away from
Yeah.
a Kingdom Hall, and they came and knocked on the door every Thursday, and it was like, okay.
Did you tell them like I'm a Christian?
Yeah, we told them, and they saw that, oh, you're a Christian, okay, but you're not a Jehovah's Witness.
Well, how did they go about approaching it? Like when they knock on your door? Because I haven't got knocked on a door. Might
It
have
was
knocked
it
on in a
was
while.
knock knock knock. Pull the blinds down. Okay, awesome. Open the door. Hey, how can we help you guys? Well, hey, have you heard the good news? yeah, we have.
That's
Shut the
good.
door.
That's good. Well, we're gonna continue talking more about this right after this.
You might be the white I be the man struggling to provide, feeling like it's hopeless? Maybe you're the son who chose a broken road. Maybe you're the girl thinking you'll end up alone, praying, God, can you hear me? Oh God, are you listening? Am I more than flesh and bone? Am I really something beautiful? Yeah, I wanna believe that I'm not just some wandering soul that you don't see and you don't know. Yeah, I wanna believe. Jesus, help me believe that I am someone worth dying for. Truth that God has set you free, but you think you're the one that grace could never reach, so you just keep asking, oh, what everybody's asking. Am I more than flesh and bone? Am I really something beautiful? Yeah, I wanna believe that I'm not just some wandering soul that you don't see and you don't know. Yeah, I wanna believe. Jesus, help me believe that I am someone worth dying for. You're worth it. You can't earn it. Yeah, the cross has proven that you're sacred and blameless. Your life has purpose. You are more than flesh and bone. Can't you see you're something beautiful? Yeah, you gotta believe. You gotta believe. He wants you to see. He wants you to see that you're not just some wandering soul that can't be seen and can't be known. Yeah, you gotta believe. You gotta believe that you are someone worth dying for.
While we were on the break, we were talking about a letter that our producer actually read that was from an atheist written to a Christian, and this is why we want to talk a little bit about witnessing. So I'm going to read a little excerpt from the letter to you guys. This is from the atheist. If you believe one bit that thousands every day were falling into an eternal and unreachable fate, you should be running the streets mad with rage at their blindness. Think about it. Imagine the horrors hell must have in store if the Bible is true. You're just going to allow that to happen and not care about saving anyone but yourself? If you're right, then you're an uncaring, unemotional, and purely selfish individual that has no right to talk about subjects such as love and caring.
Wow.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
That's tough.
And it's so true. Like, I don't know about you, but I've been, walking the streets on downtown on a Friday night getting dinner with my friends, and you see, people going to clubs and bars and Christians, radical Christians standing on the street, with their megaphones. And that's not working. But what do? Do we sit back and wait too, and not say anything? Like, how do you guys think we should go about this?
I think it's tough because especially when you're dealing with somebody who has either an atheist or agnostic point of view, trying to prove God exists is the wrong thing. Because an atheist doesn't want to hear it. They firmly believe that God does not exist, and they can give you every reason in the book, and many of them may even be able to quote you scripture. And so when approaching an atheist, I read a book called End of Reason by Ravi Zacharias, and it's his rebuttal against atheism. And he had some stuff to say in there that I was just like,
Yeah.
that makes sense,
Cool.
you know? And it was like, so one of those things, and it was practical. You approach somebody who thinks practically with practicality.
Right.
I think that, I mean, I definitely respect like what this person is saying, but honestly, if we were to do what they were saying, they'd be, I really feel that most atheists and agnostics would be like, well, now you're trying to shove it down my throat.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like you're trying to find a happy
it's-
medium.
Yeah, there's no win, honestly, I think, in
Yeah.
this situation, because they're gonna be like, well, why aren't you trying to save me, like this person?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're shoving it down my throat, and I don't appreciate that.
Yeah.
There's definitely some ways that can be perceived wrong. Like I know even talking to certain people, they instantly just get this feedback that just because I'm telling them about what I believe in, they think that I think that I'm better than them. And so they kind of get this attitude that's saying just because I believe in something and I want to live a life that Christ has called me to live, they instantly think that I have this mindset where now I'm better than you, so I'm doing this out of obligation because I know I'm better than you.
Yeah,
So-
it's really tough. Like, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, I think it's about finding a balance because, I mean, we're talking about being radical and then the opposite of being radical, which is doing nothing. And I feel like our generation especially, I feel like generations in the past have been very radical, but I feel like our generation can tend to lay back and to almost fit into the culture too much.
Yeah.
And so I feel like for us, I feel like we have to motivate people to not only like live a life that represents Christ, but they're not afraid to go out and to have conversations, but to be real and to be relevant with their, you know, people around them and with the culture. And it's just about finding that balance. And I think it is hard, you know, and it's about finding what really works.
Yeah, I think honestly though, like I think that we should you should be so much like Christ and be striving to be so much like Christ that his love comes out of you. And what Christ would do would build relationships with people. Go out of their way. That's a loving and caring thing to do. You build relationships with them and you speak truth and life into their life, you know? And I think then they'll start asking you questions. I feel like that's the only way you can really go about it, because if you really care about these people, you're gonna want to build that relationship with them, you know, and try and reach out to them in that way where they're at.
Right. So you ask yourself the age-old question, WWJD, what would Jesus do?
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, well, okay, Jesus would love. He would do nothing but love this person. I agree. But there are different ways to love somebody. Right. And so to go out on the street and proclaim at the top of your lungs, like you were saying, may seem like to some people like, okay, you're just trying to shove it down my throat. You need to calm down, take about 3 steps back, and we'll be good. You know? But in Mark chapter 1, that's exactly what he did. When Jesus began his ministry, after he was baptized, he went out and he went out and just started preaching.
They were very radical back then. And that's something I was thinking about too, because Paul, he talks about like no matter, you know, which way that people go about to talk about Christ, even if it's with the wrong intention, Christ is still being preached. Right. And so, I mean, we can say, like, don't do tracks, it's not relevant. Well, it's probably worked for someone. Right. So, I mean, different things have worked for different people. So I think it's just finding what works for your culture, what works for the circle around you, and doing that.
Yeah.
I kind of liked what you said though about the Walmart thing, what you did.
Oh,
I mean, I
yeah.
think that's pretty radical to go to a Walmart and like go around like praying and stuff. But honestly, I think God honored that, and he'll tell you to go up to that person, and maybe you're not going to say, hey, you need Jesus, but just say something to them that they need to hear. Because I know God can speak to you and tell you something that they need to hear, whether it be a word of encouragement, whether it just be a hi, whether it just be a smile, because you don't know what's going on in their life that day. And maybe that's what they needed, you know?
Yeah, and the whole idea was to like realize opportunities and moments for evangelism. In Ephesians 6, Paul says, make the most of every opportunity and watch carefully for those. Because the moment that you see an opportunity but don't take hold of it, you're disobeying what God has called you to do in that moment, in that situation. And so when you decide to step back, when God told you to step up, you know, where are you putting yourself now? Are like a lot of times we say, you know, I'm better than that. I can do something better than that. But it's not about doing the big things all the time. It's about going up to somebody, giving them a smile. The other day, somebody came up to me. We were in Siesta Keys, and all we did was smile at somebody we didn't know. Hey, how you doing? Great, beautiful day, awesome, yeah. You know, and like they stopped us and like, you guys aren't from here, are you? And we're
Because everyone's mean.
no. Right, well, yeah. And there was just a bunch of tall basketball players walking around. It's like, you're not, you know. But like they recognize that. So it's not just about going out and preaching like Jesus did in Mark 1, but it's about living exactly what you preach. And that's the biggest problem with the church, is that it's run by humans, it's run by hypocrites.
Yeah, I think the thing too is that we don't have to have it figured out, like what you were saying. If you're listening to Christ and if you are actually wanting to do what he's called you to do, he'll speak to you and he'll let you know, like, with this person you have to be bold. With this person, just have a relationship. And if we're listening, then he'll show us what we have to do, and we don't have to have it figured out all the time.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue talking more about this right as soon as we come back.
In the streets of every village, every city soaring tower, empty people live in darkness, every minute, every hour. Hear the cry of desperation from a billion broken hearts, with a need so great, where do we even start? Let it start with me. Open up my eyes, fill my heart with your compassion, free my mind from all distractions, use my hands to set the captive free, move my feet to follow after you, Lord, change the world and let it start with me. You've given us the orders, there's a place for everyone. I don't want to miss my mission in the plan that you've begun. You've promised to go with me to the edges of it all, and change everything that keeps me from your call. Let it start with me. Open up my eyes, fill my heart with your compassion, free my mind from all distractions, use my hands to set the captive free, move my feet to follow after you, Lord, change the world and let it start with me.
Welcome back, guys. Well, we were able to really get into this discussion and talk about it and try and figure everything out, but we do want to hear from our audience. So, Seth, please tell us your question. Or ask us your question.
Yeah, this letter really intrigued me. Because we were talking about this in English class, but how do we get people that aren't believers to stop generalizing Christians, that every Christian acts this way or does that way? Because I know personally I'm not that way, and I always pray for other people, and I'd hate to see my best friends die and go to hell. So how do we get people to stop generalizing Christians and being that we're all part of this group?
Honestly, I think that's something where you should build a relationship with the person. And I don't think it's, I want to build a relationship so that I can save this person. Like, it's genuinely caring and wanting to be there and wanting to be friends with them. And honestly, when they see that that is your heart and that's your intention, I think that conversation comes about naturally. I don't think it's something you'd even have to force. It's like, okay, well, I know you and I know what you believe, so let's talk about it.
I think the best way to stop being generalized is to stop being general. Don't, like, when somebody asks you a question, don't be shallow. When they ask you about Jesus, be intentional with that conversation. Grab hold of it, but don't shove everything you know at them right away, because that's going to be overwhelming. At the same time, with a relationship, you take steps. And so with a relationship with Christ, you want to make sure that they take steps. You want to make sure they take the proper steps to forming that relationship. So if you don't want to be generalized, don't be general.
Hi, I'm Carlos.
Hi, Carlos.
Nice to meet you. I have a situation for you guys.
Yes.
So say you have a friend who you've known your whole life, and both of you have been in ministry together forever, and one day he decides on the situation that happens to him, but he decides that he wants to be an atheist. And what can you do to reach him again or to bring him back to the church besides just praying?
Well, that's interesting to me, because if you grew up that way and all of a sudden you want to decide to be an atheist, it's like, do you all of a sudden just make yourself not believe that there's a God anymore? Like, I don't know how that works. Maybe he's an agnostic. Things have happened in his or her life that have made him just not want to deal with that spiritual realm and just want to push it aside because it's too much to handle, or he feels like he's been hurt by God. Maybe, but I feel like you can't really go to be an atheist. I feel like it's almost like an agnostic.
It's almost like,
you know, That
how
just
is that
doesn't.
possible to
Yeah.
to kind of bring about? Okay, I believe this in someone who's truly saved, someone
Yeah.
someone who completely has already been in the presence of God. I have a hard time believing. How do you just abandon that and say, no, that didn't really just happen?
I feel like it's almost like it's just a rejection of God, and so now you got to try
Right.
and figure out how you can reach them there. And I feel like it still comes back to relationship.
Well, and,
you know,
and if this is someone that you've been friends with for a long time, you obviously have that relationship there, so you can be
Right.
like, okay, like what's going on with you? Like, you know, like talk to me. I'm your friend, and you can be real and you can be honest
Yeah.
with me
There's
and
a
tell me
lot
what you're
behind
struggling
it.
with. Yeah,
Right.
because they're obviously I don't think that you grow up in a certain way and then instantly you're like, oh, just kidding, never mind.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
there has
Yeah.
to be, it either is building up or some big occurrence happened, and if you're their friend, then you can.
yeah, I feel like
get
you
to the
love
bottom of
them
it.
even more than you did before.
Yeah.
Because just showing that, they'll see that through you.
Yeah, there's got to be more than someone just all of a sudden deciding, I don't think there's a God anymore.
Yeah.
Like there's a root problem there. So I think having that relationship, and I know we all keep going back to that, but really that's everything, is relationship and love and building that and like really sitting down, like Amanda said, and just getting to the root of that problem. And it might take time. A lot of these things take time.
Yeah, like trying to get down to the root. I feel
Right.
like that's where you
Yeah.
have to try and start.
Exactly.
Figure out where that
I think
is.
the overall miracle, though, is the Holy Spirit that's really gonna set in and do a work in that person's life. I was just
Definitely.
I've been in situations like that, and it's definitely occurrences that are just real difficult to deal with. So thanks for that question. That was a really good question. We'll have more after this.
So during the show, we've been talking about what's effective evangelism and what works and what doesn't work, and what are things that we do that maybe turn off people that don't know God, or what are things that we do that actually attract people to the gospel. And in this argument, you're always going to hear all kinds of theories and thoughts, and this works and this doesn't work. But Jesus said something really interesting when comparing and contrasting his style with John the Baptist's style. And Jesus says this in Matthew chapter 11. He says, "For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say he has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, look at him, a glutton and a drunkard and a friend of tax collectors and sinners. Yet wisdom is justified by her deeds." And what Jesus is saying is that, you know what, here's the reality. Some of you are called to be radicals and out there and go crazy, and some of you are called to engage culture. But the point is that wisdom will be proven by her actions and by her deeds. And so it's really big that we don't necessarily think it's one style, but it's really a heart. And that'll really help you as you impact people for Jesus Christ.
Well, thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this panel discussion and got something out of it, and we're really excited to keep doing panels like this.
Yeah, I am so excited to continue this season and see what it has in store for us. So thank you guys so much for watching.
And don't forget to live it
Live it
raw.
raw.